Hello students, this is your makeup work from our September 10th live session. This is also a video that can be used if you want to go back and look at the discussion that we had in class. So during our September 10th live session, the first thing that we did was go back and revisit Jake the Snake and the Gardener Guy. So one thing that we looked at with Jake the Snake and the Gardener Guy is how all of this happens, how the stimulus is received, how the brain processes that, and then how the brain tells the rest of the body to get ready for either fight or flight. We talked about that in class on Tuesday in relation to the muscular system. So let's take a look at this again and add in just a little bit from your homework in talking about the receptors and the types of stimuli. So light is bouncing off of Jake the Snake, and that light goes into the pupil or in through the pupil of the Gardener Guy's eye, and it's going to hit the back of the eye. The back of the eye is called the retina, and the retina has a couple of very specific structures that are receptors for light. Does anybody remember what those are? Good. Those are the rods and the cones, and they exist in the retina. So rods and cones exist in the retina. These are the receptors that pick up light or the stimulus from light or the stimulus from electromagnetic radiation. So once the rods and the cones are stimulated or are activated by receiving light or by receiving an electromagnetic stimulus, they have to send that information to the brain. So they're going to send the rods and the cones are attached to the optic nerve, and so they are going to send the information that they are gathering from this light or this activation. They're going to send a signal to the brain via the optic nerve. So when the brain receives that signal, it will process that signal and it will immediately decide what needs to be done. In this case, the immediate decision is that there is something that might be danger. So when the brain processes the signal and decides that this might be danger, the brain is going to get the rest of the body ready for a fight or flight response. So the brain starts to send signals to the muscles. So there would be a signal going down through the spinal cord and out to the muscles in the arm, a signal that might go to the core muscles, a signal that will go to the heart, a signal that might go to the legs to get the Gardener Guy ready for action. So either to fight this possible threat or to run away from the possible threat. So we said that the scared human or the Gardener Guy runs away. So he probably jumps first and then he runs away. Ah, he says as he runs. So the other thing that we need to look at is our next system. So I'm going to cover up part of this as I talk and then just talk you through this. You will need to add in the nervous system as we go, and you may want to pause the video so that you can draw each of the different parts. So I'll talk probably a little bit faster than you can actually draw. So the very first level of organization is the cell. This is kind of a funny looking cell. Nerve cells are kind of weird. They have a body. So this is kind of the big part of the cell. This is where the nucleus is, and they have little receptors that are off of that main body. They also have this very nice long portion, and this can reach, this can be really short, or it can be as long as going from basically the tip of your spine to your big toe. So this has a pretty wide range of lengths. And then we have some more little receptors here on the bottom. Okay, so this is a nerve cell. Go ahead and draw that in. The next level of organization is the tissue, same as with our muscle cells. So in the tissue, you have multiple nervous cells or multiple nerve cells connecting together, and they can send signals to each other. The space in between the nerve cells is called a synapse, and that's where little chemical messengers are sent between the nerve cells so that the message from this nerve can get to this nerve, can get to these nerves, or depending, you can also have that going the other direction. Again, if I'm going too fast, you can pause the video so that you can get the drawings done. The next level of organization is the organ. And so I've got a couple of examples here for you. The first is the brain. So here's the brain. Here's the spinal cord. So this is a big nerve bundle with little branches going off of it. Here's the eye, and we could look at the rods and the cones for the receptors within the eye and then the optic nerve onto the brain. So there are some examples of organs. From the organ, you'll have the organ system. So this is looking at the brain and the spinal cord. And that would be your central nervous system. We can look at nerves that come off of that spinal cord and maybe go around the trunk or the core of the body. We can follow some of those out through the arm. So this is following some nerves out to the arm and into the fingers. We can even follow some of those nerves as they branch off and go down into the legs. So this part, these parts that branch off, come off of the spinal cord here, this would be considered the peripheral nervous system. So these are some systems of nerves within the body. And then we finish up the same way that we did in our last class with an organism. So here's our little organism that's made up of multiple systems. So when we're looking at our gardener guy, we have the brain uses nerves to send signals out to the muscles. So that's our interaction between the nervous system and the muscular system. So the heart is a muscle, so there would be information sent along nerves. So I'll draw that in here. So there'd be a nerve that would take information there. Nerves would take information to the heart. Nerves would take information down into the legs, into the muscles. So the way that the brain sends signals to the muscles is via these nerves. And you can look over here and kind of see how those nerves go through the body.